And welcome back. Thanks for tuning in to Morning Live. Now, quite a day for the African National Congress yesterday. They laid criminal charges against controversial Afrikaans singer Steve Hoffmeyer for his Twitter death threat aimed at South African ambassador to Denmark, Zinzi Mandela, and DA Member of Parliament, Pumzile van Dam. Now, the party also, some argue, trying to emulate Donald Trump's slogan, saying to help President Cyril Ramaphosa make South Africa great again. So to discuss these and other issues, I'm joined now here in studio by ANC spokesperson Pule Mabe. Good to see you again.
Yes, morning Sakina and morning to your viewers.
Mr. Mabe, let's start with the case, the charges that you laid against Steve Hoffmeyer. Firstly, before we even look at that particular tweet, we'll call it up in just a moment. Why did you decide that the ANC needed to lay charges against him?
You know, the ANC believes in a culture of human rights. We have presided on a constitution that protects the right of all of our citizens, regardless of the color of their skin. So we have got a duty to make sure that at all material times we uphold that constitution as the fundamental custodian of the rights of each citizen in the Republic of South Africa. So when the rounds were being made on social media, it was clear to us that if this unbecoming reckless conduct is not attended to, it has got a potential to undermine the journey we've traversed to make sure that we could unite our people, black and white.
So let's just take a look at that tweet for those who may not have seen it. The tweet that was sent out by Steve Hoffmeyer, and this is what it said. Right, believe it's not there, but I have it written down, so I'll actually read it. It actually says, Dear Zilla van Dam, that's her Twitter handle, and at Zinzi Mandela, I'm a South African tax-paying citizen, and effectively, I am your boss. You will jump when I say so, and you will ask how high. And when you come to take our lives and land, you will die. Our contract is that simple. And don't you forget it, unquote. That was essentially what the tweet read, verbatim, that Steve Hoffmeyer put out. So, again, you know, very serious, and,
Yes,
and many people, South Africans, reacted to that, and you explained why you decided to take this form of action.
Yes.
But is there a bigger problem here that perhaps the party also needs to focus on?
Well, there is. It looks like there are individuals in our country who are still trapped in the past. And that must not be allowed, especially now when we are working hard to build a country that we can all call home. So we cannot have individuals who incite violence in that way, who injure the dignity of others. Even if you don't agree with people, we have got sufficient platforms to be able to air our views without necessarily threatening people with death. That can happen, not in a democratic country. So now we have reported a case, both of incitement of violence, but also of criminal injuria, because we believe that the dignities of individuals, specifically Ambassador Zenzile Mandela Hlongwane, as well as DAMP Pumzile van Dam, we are expecting authorities to act swiftly and with the necessary speed. We have laid these charges in Johannesburg. It's much closer to Lituli House, Sakina. So it's easy for us to make the necessary follow-ups. Police have assured us, actually they should have done so yesterday. I think they did send us a case number, which will again be conveying to the public. We are putting all the necessary instruments to monitor the progress of this case. We want this case to be exemplary because racists within our midst need to be exposed for what they stand for. We need the younger ones to know that the ANC, which leads society, is committed to a South Africa that belongs to all.
So just moving it along then, Steve Hoffmeyer's tweet, of course, in response to two incidents. There were the tweets by Zinzi Mandela. We spoke about those at length last week. And then also there was Phumzile Van Dam, who found herself embroiled in some racially charged situation at the V&A waterfront in Cape Town. So firstly, what's the ANC's reaction to Zinzi Mandela's tweet? We saw President Thabo Mbeki also coming out opining on that matter. But what is the ANC's position?
Well, the ANC would not have had a meeting where it would have sought to develop or formulate a view on the issue. You would know that issues that have got to do with ambassadors are mostly handled by DERCO. And if the relevant minister of DERCO, who's Minister Naledi Pandor, feels that there are matters that need to be bounced with the party, such will be done. At this stage, such has not taken place. We don't believe that in any of the expressions that our ambassador has made, she sought to threaten the life of any individual in the manner that Steve Hoffmeyer would have subsequently responded. You see, so people express their views in the manner that she has. And of course, you know, land is an emotive issue in this country. The ANC has supported processes in Parliament through the ad hoc committee that is looking into the amendment of Section 25, which, if successfully done, will alter property relations. And when that happens, it will make sure that an environment that our people could be able to coexist is ultimately established.
I also just want to pause here on a few quick issues before we get to the end of this interview.
Yes.
The public protector situation. And of course, the public protector is probing some allegations that have been leveled against the president of the country and also the president of the ANC, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa. And what is your view on how this is playing out? I mean, a lot is being said about the public protector and the scope of this investigation. As the ANC, what's your position on that?
Well, Sakina, our position has always been clear. One, the president of the ANC, who's also the president of the country, need to be given the space to make this country great. He just rose from SONA, which is being debated this week. We are expecting that a lot of plans that must turn around our economy, create jobs for our people, are going to be debated by the different parliamentarians out there. What we have now seen in the public is the DA, which is unsure of the kind of a complaint that they have laid, which is a bit of a worry, because Chapter 9 institutions are doing their work. Those that run the state, in this instance, the president of the state is also doing his work, charged with the responsibility of leading the people of the country. We've got a manifesto that we sold out to our people. We need to be allowed to focus our energies there. So if the DA is not really sure of what is their complaint, taxpayers should not be abused.
But what is your view on the public protector and the investigation that she is currently undertaking? The one into whether the president in fact lied to Parliament, firstly, and secondly, broadening that scope to include the question of perhaps money laundering during his presidential election campaign for the ANC.
You and I have seen media reports yesterday which suggested that the DA itself is not clear of what complaint they've laid with the public protector. I don't think that the ANC would want to be drawn into that. Where we are now, our focus is on making sure that our parliamentarians, including the state president, goes out there and give and outline an effective program that is going to ensure that we implement the State of the Nation's address, which is effectively a program of action on the things that the sixth administration is expected to discharge in the interest of our people. So we will not want to be sidetracked into any other thing that undermines the very contract, the very compact that was supposed to be driving forward.
And Bongo yesterday lost a case in the Cape High Court, and he's, of course, one of your deployees as a portfolio chairperson to Parliament. What's the ANC going to do about that situation?
Well, issues that have got to do with members of Parliament, we've got a very capable Whipari the Whippery is attending to all of those issues. If there is a need for the ANC to enter, we will be informed through the Secretary General's office. From where we are sitting, we believe in the ability of our Whippery in Parliament, who is the head of the ANC caucus, the chief whip, to be able to preside and attend to all of the matters that might arise.
Very serious matter that Mr. Bongo is facing. So doesn't the ANC deem that serious enough to perhaps ask him to recuse himself as chairperson of a portfolio committee, given the severity of the allegations that he faces?
Well, we've got a chief whip in Parliament. We have got structures within the ANC caucus. Those structures have got sufficient authority to be able to attend to all of the matters that they assist with. If in their view they come to a determination that we at Lituli House need to be briefed, they shall do so. Because it will be difficult, Sakina, to come to Morning Live and want to second-guess positions for the ANC unprocessed. It doesn't work like that. We have got to allow that all of those processes to be undertaken. The chief whip is there. We have got the caucus team of able men and women, seasoned cadres of the organization who are doing their work. They have not at this stage briefed Lituli House that they are unable to discharge any of the responsibilities that they were bestowed with.
And then just finally, we're out of time, but I have to ask you this. Some of your Nasrec resolutions, there was, of course, expropriation of land without compensation. Yes. There was the call to deliver a radical economic transformation in the country, also to nationalize the South African Reserve Bank. Listening to the State of the Nation address last week, is the ANC on track to delivering on its own resolutions?
Well, we are, but of course, the President in the State of the Nation's address, including in the statements that we've issued in the past, we have asserted the mandate of the South African Reserve Bank. That mandate remains unchanged. It is as stated in the Constitution. We are, of course, committed. But
what did the ANC resolve?
Well, we are, of course, committed. I mean, when you take resolutions, you also have got to look at the conditions at the time. So we have asserted a position, we've issued a statement even through the presidency, asserting our position and understanding on what the Reserve Bank is supposed to be doing. I wouldn't want us to go back there. We have already been there already.
Well, I'm not asking you to go back. I'm simply asking you, have you now deviated from the resolutions that you took at Nasrec?
No, we have not deviated from the resolutions we took from Nasrec. I think we are quite capable to come back to the public and account on where we are. The ANC shall have its National General Council next year. It will brief its members, the members of the ANC in good standing, on what it has done, the progress it has achieved, what was possible within the period that it came out of Congress, and what is it that it could still do within the period leading up to the next national conference of the ANC.
Did you resolve to nationalize the Reserve Bank at Nasrec?
As it relates to, let me go back to the other questions.
No, but did you resolve as the African National Congress to nationalize the South African Reserve Bank? Was that one of the Nasrec resolutions?
Well, let me say this to you.
Yes or no, Mr. Mabe?
No, we don't deal with yes or no.
No, but
answers.
Mr. Mabe, it's a simple question.
Yes,
you either did resolve that or you didn't.
But Sakina, you can sit this side if you have got, if you want to ask me yes or no answers. Can I be allowed perhaps to represent my party, the African National Congress? And in the end, you will tell me yes or no. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you yes or no. I will tell you what is the understanding of the African National Congress. Mm-hmm. The African National Congress has taken resolutions, including on the Reserve Bank. We have spoken through the President, the State of the Nation's address, asserting the mandate of the Reserve Bank. It was important to do that, given the conditions and the performance of our own economy. You would know that our economy has contracted at about, 3% now. You need to also reassert quite a number of things so that you give certainty. You know, when the economy is contracting, the level that it is, you need to give certainty. Yes. Communicate a message of hope. Assure your people that you are not going to be taking actions that will
but I'm not disputing that. I'm asking a simple question. Did you resolve to nationalize
I'm sure by now, Sakina, given your seasoned role as a journalist, you are quite aware of the resolutions of the African National Congress.
Which is why I'm asking you.
Yes.
And the point is that Have you then had opportunity to re-deliberate on that matter, or have you just changed your position?
Look, even if we have got a resolution at NASREC that says nationalize the Reserve Bank, if conditions at the time are not permitting for you to there are quite a number of resolutions that we take at conferences. It doesn't mean when we go out of conference, we've got to look at the material conditions. Those material conditions will be able to dictate to us on what is possible at the time. What I can assure you of is that we are committed to a program of a radical economic transformation. We are taking steps to make sure, because if you do not radicalize the economy and create the jobs that are needed, how are you going to turn things around?
But I'm not going to ask what that means. We have to leave it there.
Yes, but even when you do that, you've got to do it responsibly.
Absolutely. Well, we have to leave it there, Mr. Mabe, but as always, great engaging with you, a national spokesperson of the African National Congress, Pule Mabe. And of course, we're into news time.